YouTube? Team Simply Maat here. Today we're going to bring you a Banlist discussion on lower tier decks.
Yeah, so I mean, not really lower tier, I guess. Just not the big three. I mean, you can check. We'll have a nice annotation here about our last video where we talked about what we think should happen to mermails, windups, and dino rabbits. And so now we're going to kind of discuss all the other kind of deck-specific cards. We're not going to go into staples. That'll be in another video. You can watch out for that. But this is just going to be what kind of our thoughts on all the other cards that could happen. I mean, most of these probably won't happen, but just kind of a discussion about what might happen. I mean, probably in a week or two, we'll have an official prediction video where we'll make our actual claims. But so the first thing we're going to talk about is kind of chaos engines. So these would be chaos dragons, chaos agents. A lot of decks run the twilight, the light and dark. So everyone hates BLS. Everyone really hates BLS, and it's understandable. I mean, it's so powerful, and especially they have Chaos Sorcerer here, which, while it's an extremely powerful card, I mean,
it's more balanced.
Right, it's a lot more balanced. So I mean, everyone thinks that BLS should get banned. I personally don't think Konami's going to touch it. Chaos decks haven't, they're not top anymore, so I don't think there's any reason now to hit it. It seems like BLS is here to stay. I mean, a very logical hit would be to move, to ban BLS and then to move Chaos Sorcerer up to 2 or maybe even 3. But that kind of makes too much sense for Konami. So I think BLS is going to stay. I mean, everyone still, people want it gone, but that's okay. While we're on the topic of Chaos Dragons, I want to talk about Dad. Dad's not going to get hit. It's not. I hate Dad, though. I almost hate it more than BLS, just the fact that if you can't respond to it, they +3, plus they have a 2800 monster. So, personally, I hate that card, but that's just me rambling. I honestly don't think it'll get hit, ever, really. So, the next deck we're going to talk about kind of ties into the Chaos theme. It's Agents. Agents have been, pretty high up recently. I mean, Simon, he has gotten a lot of tops at YCS. And a lot of this is due to the fact that they just got Earth, their Searcher, back up to 2. And I don't think that anything will happen to this deck. It's a really powerful deck, and it can OTK pretty well, but it's not on the level of the top 3, so I don't think any hits need to be made, especially since they just brought Earth back. So I just want to acknowledge, I mean, Agents might be, the 4th best deck of this format, but they're not going to get touched. And kind of in the same vein, Inzectors, a lot of people are saying, they still want to ban Hornet. Everyone hates Hornet. Some people are saying, ban Hornet, maybe give them back another Dragonfly, but Inzectors Konami has applied the bug spray. I mean, they're nowhere near as powerful as they used to be, so they're fine. They're not going to get touched. Same with, so my Dolces there. I mean, Konami doesn't like to hit new archetypes. That's why it's kind of questionable whether or not Mermails will even get hit. I mean, a lot of people are already saying, how are we going to hit Evil Swarms? How are we going to hit Fire Fists? Like, no, you're not going to touch new decks. Like, that's not Konami's way. Same with Prophecy. They're not going to get hit. I mean, they're coming out with the Divine Judgment of the Spellbook card, which is really, really broken. But Spellbooks are okay right now. They're not broken. And, okay, so the last of the kind of not broken but powerful decks will be Heroes. A lot of people, this deck got a lot of hype when, because in Japan it was really powerful, and they brought down, they put E-Call and then Pot of Duality to 2, and I think a Hero Lives, they put down to 2. It is, it's still a very good deck. I mean, the one hit that people have been talking about a lot is maybe a hit on Miracle Fusion, just the fact that you can recycle stuff from your grave, use a Miracle Fusion, and basically, you get your 1-for-1 out, because you play Miracle Fusion, and then you get out like a Shining, and then if Shining leaves, then you get your Alias and your Stratos back. You can research with Stratos. A lot of people want Stratos banned, actually, but, at 1, Stratos isn't a problem, really. I mean, yes, it's a great Searcher, and the fact that it can activate its effect when it's special summoned is amazing. But Heroes, I feel like Heroes almost didn't live up to the hype. I mean, that's the deck that once the ban list was announced, everyone thought that Rabbit was dead, they thought that wind up, without the loop, that wind up would be dead. So everyone's like, okay, heroes, they're so consistent.
Hey guys, we're back. There's a little bit of an edit. We had to make 2 pounds of mashed potatoes. Or ramen noodles had to make his 2 pounds of mashed potatoes.
We had a fire alarm.
We had a fire alarm, so
we went and we hijacked the other building and we
So
took
now-
pictures and got mashed potatoes.
so now we're putting mashed potatoes inside Starbucks cups. And there's ranch for chicken nuggets and milk and more Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So let's
go
continue. Let's go over what we talked about. What do we talk about?
Why do we need to go over what we talked about?
I don't know. That's what let's go on.
No, we're gonna
No?
go.
Are we gonna?
Dolce's not gonna get hit. Heroes not gonna get hit. Prophecy not gonna get hit. Inzektor not gonna get hit.
Is that all we talked about? Oh yeah, I talked Chaos Dragons and Agents.
BLF
All right,
not
go
gonna
on.
get hit. Okay. So, I was on Pojo and there was a thread and it was what is the most hated spell card, and there were typically your Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Book of Moon, Wind Up Factory. This card wasn't listed, yet every other comment said let's ban Gateway. Gateway is a hated card. I think it's Gateway is just too powerful. I mean, yeah, 6am isn't one of the top decks, but still, Gateway is just a horribly designed card in my opinion.
OICS essentially.
Pretty much. I mean, the guy drew Gateway so many times first turn that he won. I mean, just the fact that you can use it off of other counters, like it counters off of other 6am cards. I mean, if you get this in two other cards that can hold Bushido counters, like Gateway or Dojo, you can basically get an unlimited amount of Kizans from your deck or Grandmasters, because you search, then you get 4 tokens total, then you special that, and you get another, and just... It's, I don't know, Gateway's just, I think, too powerful of a spell card. This is... So I think, I think Gateway should be banned, and I actually think there's a good likelihood that sometime in the near future Gateway will be banned. Just too many people hate it. It's like the fan base will Konami to ban this card. A lot of people think that, they should. I saw someone say that let's give them another Shien if we ban Gateway. That would be better than Gateway in my opinion, but I don't think we'd give them another Shien. The most logical would be to give them another Smoke Signal, but then again, they already have Rhoda and Heroes for Heroes and Hieratics, both their searchers are at 2, so it's not like they have to give them back something just because we banned Gateway. But yeah, I think Gateway has a decent likelihood of being banned in the near future. It's just so everyone hates it, just because the fact that they can swarm so well and then you reward this swarming with more swarming. So the next deck we're actually going to get to is Dark Worlds. Card Destruction is another one of those kind of auto-win cards. I mean, this and Gateway are the 2 best examples of auto-win, spell cards for that specific archetype. Dark Worlds are another one that, a lot of people thought Dark Worlds would be amazing in this format just because they didn't get hit. And they really didn't do much, but they're still, they're still a solid deck, and this is still, I think, kind of a broken card in there. Because you basically, you set all your magic and trap cards, and then you just activate this. And for every Dark World card, you're gonna get your plus off. So the fact that you do that while screwing with your opponent's hand, I think, just makes this card. It abuses this card. I mean, it was originally intended, back when you just drop this, and then both players discard their whole hand and draw it, and then you go -1. But the fact that Dark World can abuse this card and get so many pluses off of it, I think I think it should be banned. Other ways to kind of hit Dark World, a lot of people want kind of Grapha to get the Judgment Dragon treatment, maybe put it to 1 or to 2. I think an interesting hit might be maybe to take Snow down to 2, since Snow essentially is the searcher of the deck. It's its consistency. And the fact that it can not only search out all the monsters, but it can search out Dark World dealings and Gates of Dark World, I think makes it a little too versatile. It's better than, Atlantean Dragoons. It's better than, E-Call. So I think if you're going to hit it, maybe... Dark Worlds don't have to be hit, but I think Card Destruction deserves a hit. And then a hit something like maybe Snow to 2 if you don't hit Card Destruction, that might be interesting to go about it, but I don't think Dark World would get hit. Maybe Card Destruction. The next deck we're going to talk about is a deck that got hit last ban list, was Hieratics. Not only was Gustkraken limited, but they semi-limited Hieratic Seal. Now, Hieratics, Hieratics aren't as good as Chaos Dragons, in my opinion. They're a little bit more, OTK-ish, but they don't have the consistency. That's why I see no problem with giving them back their 3rd seal. I don't feel like it would make a major change. But then again, I don't feel like Konami would do it just because they just semied it. I don't feel like they'd turn around and then, revise it. So I don't think that would happen, but that would be something that I think should happen, even though if it's not that likely. And so next we have 3 different decks that kind of, they used to be, really, they used to be some of the top decks, but now they're kind of, down a notch. One of them is Black Wings. I have Shura, but we're not going to talk about Shura. I mean, they just got a second Kalut, which I actually thought was kind of a mistake if you're going to bring back a Blackwing card. I mean, the other 2, you have Black Whirlwind, and you have Gale. I think Gale to 2 would be a good move, just because, Gale, it is kind of a universal tuner. I mean, now that, that was, the reason why that got hit, because back when you had, Dark Strike Fighter, and when you had Goyo Guardian, and you just had all these really powerful, synchros that you really don't have now. So bringing Gale back up to 2, I don't think would hurt. And then Black Whirlwind, I've made this argument in the Wind-Up video that Wind-Up Factory is better than Black Whirlwind in any way. Not only can you use it on both turns, but it doesn't have the limitation of you have to search out a monster with less attack than the one you summoned for Black Whirlwind. So I could see them moving Black Whirlwind up to 2, and then maybe do a Factory to 2 or to 1, just for... Because Factory's the better card in the better deck, so just by principle, I don't see why it should be, more copies allowed than Black Whirlwind, but... I think, give them back, another Black Whirlwind, give them back a Gale. I'd rather put, limit Kalut again, just because the power of, traps like that are honest, and then give them back, a Gale and a Black Whirlwind. I think, Gale might be a little bit more likely just because it's more relevant to the entire meta, just because some decks would run it. So it's one of those things, I'm not necessarily sure if it'll happen now, but, be on the lookout. I mean, it'll happen sometime. They'll start giving, Black Wings back their cards because they're not going to be, uber competitive again. And in another vein, Glad Beasts. I mean, that used to be, Glad Beast formats. Again, I couldn't find the actual card, but Bestiary is the one that's limited. And the reason why it's limited is not because Bestiary itself is necessarily that broken. I mean, all it does is it destroys a spell or trap, but the fact that goes into Geyseris, which then destroys 2 cards your opponent controls when it's contact summoned. So I think, you could easily bring back Bestiary to, semi it a while. It's not going to do much. I mean, a lot of them run a Hero Lives, and some run Elemental Hero Prisma, so it's not like it's hard for you to get a Bestiary out. So I think that would be a nice little change, so look for that in the near future, I think. And then the final deck we're going to talk about is actually zombie decks. We've seen some, our Sayu Ninja runs a zombie Narc deck, and they have 2 cards that are limited, Plague Spreader Zombie and Mizuki. I think Plague Spreader, it's good, but it's not that great anymore. I mean, so its effect is you can return 1 card from your hand to the top of the deck, special summon this card from the graveyard. If you do, remove this card from play, it is removed from the field. So basically, it's almost kind of like a Spore in the fact that just, once you use it once, you can then reuse it, and then it gets banished. So the fact that there aren't that many powerful Synchro decks anymore, I could easily see this going to 2. And then maybe even to 3 eventually, probably. I mean, Tessa have 2, of course, but this I could see easily. The same as maybe moving a Gale up, just it gives that archetype a little bit more support, plus, any other deck that's based around Synchroing. But then again, Konami's kind of phasing out Synchroing. They don't like those anymore, so, but, they gave us Spore back, so.
It's all about the money.
It's all about the money. And another one is Mizuki. Mizuki's, I think, a little bit stronger than Plague Spreader. I think it might actually help the deck a little bit more.
Reborn, and it's relatively strong for level 4.
And so I think that's another one where, even if they semi-Plague Spreader and Mizuki, it's not like zombies are suddenly going to be, topping, so it'll just help the deck out, and so I think, I wouldn't be surprised at all if at the ban list in March, they give one of these cards a boost a little bit, and eventually probably both will get back, because, it's one of those things like with, Plague Spreader, with, Bestiary, and with, Gale, these decks used to be so powerful, but now that, you've had this power creep in there, these other decks that are so competitive, there's really no need to keep them on the ban list. I mean, if you think about it, cards like Breaker the Magic Warrior, cards like United We Stand, they used to be so powerful, but then after they kind of had their time and the format moved on, then they were allowed to come back. So that's why, Plague Spreader's not going to remain, limited forever. Bestiary's not going to remain limited forever. So, be on the lookout for some of these decks to get a slight boost by the ban list, maybe. I mean, a lot of people think that the point of the ban list is to bring down the top decks, but it's also kind of to give these lower decks a little bit of a boost. So so those are our thoughts. I mean, thanks for watching. Stay on the lookout. I think the next segment we're gonna do is gonna be dealing with all the staples like the Monster Reborn, the Dark Hole, Heavy Storm. And I'm also gonna do a video of cards that we think could come back, something like Thousand Eyes Restrict, a Magician of Faith, the Dark Magician of Chaos. So thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts on what we talked about or your own input, just leave a comment down below and hit that subscribe button. Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
Thanks.